Sister Sis. Hey, y'all, did y'all miss us? Because we sure missed you. Look, watch, like, and subscribe to our channel at Sister Sis 1998, as well as follow us on all our social media platforms at Sister Sis 1988. So again, we are hearing from married couples. And let me tell you, this one here is nothing fake about it. I love everything about their relationship. It's great. But we decided to go ahead and separate them and then ask some more questions to see if we can get some more juice. So, I'm going to turn over here to Mr. J, and I want to ask you this. All three of us are single. They are behind me just by a few months. So I'm 39 and they're 38. And I've been abstinent almost 6 years, probably in I think September or October of this year. So what advice would you give single women that desire to be married?
What I can say is men, most men, and it's almost like all men, if they're being honest with themselves, men like to be loved. I grew up in the street. I grew up being hard. But I find my best happiness being loved by my wife. So men like to be loved. Men don't like to be nagged. They don't like to argue. I hate arguing. And good thing that I got a wife that understands that. And so, if you're one of those, men have to be men. There's this thing that people, and I hear a lot of women saying about no man can run me and no man can tell me what to do, that type of deal. No man should have to run me. But I listen to my wife, so she listens to me. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you're not a person that, it's all right being independent. I'm an independent woman. If you want to stay independent, then you just might be alone and independent.
That's true.
You have to understand that, and I base everything off of off of my Bible and teachings, and the man is the head of the household, and that doesn't mean that the woman doesn't have say, because she has as much say as I do. As a matter of fact, she normally say more than I do. Truthfully, there's some times when I have to say, okay, baby, this is how it's going to go, but I really have to. So if you're that kind of woman that, if you have to be the most dominant figure, if you're trying to wear the pants all the time, that's gonna be an issue for a real man. Mm-hmm. I mean a real man, like someone that grew up and didn't wasn't a pushover, should I say? Has his confidence and morals and values intact. Mm-hmm. Then you can't. A man cannot be made to feel less. I saw someone say one time, "Never ever hit a man where it hurt." And if you want to have a good relationship, I think that's the best advice. Never hit a man where it hurts. Because when you hit a man where it hurts, that destroys everything about him here. And how can he be good to you if you've already destroyed this? That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. So, we have a lot of, I'm going to just be honest, we have a lot of HA men that say and do hurtful things.
Right.
Are mischievous, hooked on playing with people. If you notice,
get away from them. It's that simple. Get away from them. Contrary to popular belief, there's good men.
Oh yes.
Okay. If you find yourself as a woman always with the kind of men that want to play games, want to beat on you, want to play mind games with you and hurt your feelings and all that, well, you first got to look at yourself. Right? Mm-hmm. Because I tell my guys, my agents, in my agency, I tell them that there's no such thing as bad luck. You create it by the things that you do. If I had a guy at one time who every time I looked up, he got robbed at the club. He got beat up at the club. He got shot at the club. And
stop going to the club.
What do you think I told him? Stop going to the club.
Right.
Because you're going somewhere where you're putting yourself in bad situations. So if you're a woman and you're looking for a good man and you're trying to have a good relationship, well, you need to change the scenery of where you're finding the people that you're coming in contact with. So, You can't tell me, a woman can't tell me that everybody tried to treat them bad. I'm going to have to say, you got some bad qualities yourself. You're putting yourself in a bad place. You're drawn to the negativity. But if you put yourself in places where people are positive and people are operating in a different kind of way, people got their mindsets right. I told one of my little cousins this, just a young lady here recently, like, you stop. She was saying, oh, well, I'm going to buy me a car and I want to go get me, she said a Charger. Or which one is the fast one, whatever.
The Challenger?
A Charger. It's a Charger, right? A Challenger. Which one is it? Whatever. So, and she was like, I want to go get this car. And I said, why? I said, that's not the car you need. That's the wrong kind of message and attraction of the people that you're trying to get. I said, you know what? Go get you a Maserati SUV. I said, that's what fits you. That's what's going to draw the. As a matter of fact, those other guys in that Scat Pack not even going to want to stop and talk to you because they're going to be intimidated. So put yourself in a place where you're going to find the people that you want, or continue to get what you get.
Okay, so oftentimes single women are always, when we have that guard up that you are describing, I totally agree. We are looked at as, oh, you're looking for Jesus, you're looking for a perfect man. No, I'm not looking for a perfect man, but I ain't looking for somebody that's not playing where he needs to be in life. You know, everybody talk about the Build-A-Bear, you know. So what do you say to those men that's what they want to say when you're cutting them off, as you said,
right?
Start talking to them, and they say, "Oh, you look for somebody perfect. You think you perfect." What's your advice on that?
Well, guess what? If you cut them off, you can't hear them say that. Just being real. That means that if you're still dealing with those comments, that means you're still putting yourself in that place. I'm just being honest. Now, the truth of the matter is, I wasn't who I needed to be when I met my wife, but I had already made I think earlier I said that I had asked God previously to send me a wife. I didn't say I was going to find me a wife. I asked God to send me a wife. So I had already made my mind up that I wanted something different. Now, this is no knock on men, but I'm just going to be honest. I'm a little longer in the tooth now, okay? I'm a little bit older. When I was younger, I operated a certain kind of way that didn't lead up to, that would not have created a great relationship, if that makes sense. But as I matured, then I saw what I wanted, and I understood who I needed to be to get what I wanted. So, if those men are still telling you that, well, first of all, you already supposed to be. I think the prior question was get away from them, right? Because if they're still telling you that, that means that you're still running down to the fire. Stay away from the fire.
Put your block on. Put your block on, and not listen to those comments. But it's often that's what we are told.
Yeah,
and you think you're perfect.
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for a perfect person. I'm looking for someone who has made up their mind.
You know, when people fire back like that, that's their own anger, and most of the time people don't have anger. If someone cut me off, I generally don't get mad. But if I stepped out of line and somebody responded, that's normally when I get mad. So now I'm covering for my own insecurity. See, when you're wrong, you have to fight back. So those people are generally fighting back because they know.
Because they want to play games.
Because you touched the nerve. My dad used to say, I threw a rock and the dog that hollered is the one that got hit, right? So if they're responding back and lashing out like that because, you know, you're not giving me, if you're telling them they're not giving you what you want or what you need and they have to lash out, that's because that rock hit them. Right?
So what do you say to men who can't express their love language?
I had a hard time in the beginning. That part, the woman has to know how to understand and nurture a man. I grew up in a family where we was all tough, hard. 4 boys, no girls.
Oh wow.
I was out on my own at the age of 15 in the street. I had to learn and develop myself to be extremely tough about everything. So when I found a good woman, I didn't know how to really properly love her. I didn't know how to really properly show her, but I did learn how to listen. So that listening didn't come from her fighting me and snapping at me. That listening came from her. If I and she'll tell you, even now, stressfully sometimes I get in a bad mood, and I'm just sitting in the living room on the couch, and she'll come through and she'll rub my shoulder and rub the back of my neck, all of that kind of stuff, because she understands me and she knows how to get me back to her. So that kind of thing, when it comes to a certain kind of men that's experienced a certain kind of life, it's a two-way street. I have to learn to listen, but she has to learn to listen too. Does that make sense?
So what do you, a lot of men, the game now is not showing any emotion. Do you think that, because I'm going to tell you, it's some older dudes out here still playing games.
Age don't mean maturity.
Right.
Not at all.
No, I'm just saying, because you were saying that, you were an older guy, but I'm saying really out here in the single world, you're not able to just, okay, that dude, he's made up his mind. They playing just as much as the young dudes is,
Right.
They swearing up and down. And this is where we had a guest on the show. Really, I'm not looking for a relationship. They just want to go to bed.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
And so you have to know those people, right? You have to know those people. There are people. I was that person. You have to know those people that that's all they're looking for. But I mean, the signs are always there. There's no such thing.
Well, that's true. The flags are there, and women, we have a heart. Women, we ignore flags.
Guess what?
Or think we can change.
Guess
You know
what?
what I'm saying?
There's women that's exactly the same as those same guys.
It is, and they can't take it either.
Right?
They don't know how to. They can dish it, but they can't take it. Is what those
And this is
say.
something that people have to understand too. Women like to, and at no point in time I want to feel like I'm saying anything negative or derogatory towards women, but women like to always have feelings and emotions, but they don't want us to have the same feelings and emotions. Just like women have been hurt. Some of those same men that you said they're a little bit older and they should be more mature, they are mature. They just went through the same thing that some of you guys went through. And so just like you have your guards up, they got their guards up. In this world today, men work super hard, and I see women utilize them or abuse them financially.
That's
And leave them in a state. So now they're like, I'm not letting anybody take me like that anymore.
Right.
So then they start operating. They put their wall up, and now it's like it's a stalemate. Who wins? Nobody.
So with the emotions, why do you think most of the time men look at emotions as being weak? Are they concerned about?
That's a cultural thing. That's a cultural thing. I was raised to never cry. I think the first time I cried was at my dad's funeral, and I think the second time that I really cried was at my son's funeral. Other than that, I was raised to show those kind of emotions. That's a cultural thing. That's our community. That's something that needs to change, but it's so much embedded into our culture. It's hard to change that. We're raised to understand and believe that we have to be hard. You have to be tough. You have to be thick-skinned. You can't let anything bother us, which is why you see rampant suicides.
It has increased with our community. Yes.
Because now I can't show any emotion. I can't let anything out. If I let something out, I'm weak, I'm a girl, I'm gay, I'm this and that. No disrespect to anybody that understands.
Yes.
But that's what they're going to label you as. So I have to hold everything in. And since I hold everything in, now I don't have an outlet. Which, again, I had a great outlet in my wife to help me to get over some of those things. Because she helped me get past a whole lot. Okay? So men feel like they have to be strong and have to be hard and have to be tough because our culture says that. And another thing, just because we're there, women put men in a situation a lot of times where they have to be that hard person. Normally when things happen and go awry, it's not because the man did it. It's because the woman did it. It's because she talked back or raised their voice at some guy and, you know, did whatever it is. And now the man has to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So for our black women, hopefully our black women can stop putting our black men in these in a lot of situations. Not taking any responsibility from the man, but our black women put black men in a lot of situations that I've seen that has caused things all the way up until losing lives. So maybe that can change.
So what advice would you give to a single man of age, middle age, who is seeking that outlet that you found with your wife? What advice would you give?
You gotta go get you a good woman first. You do. You gotta get your ducks in a row. I don't believe that somebody has to be all lined up and laced up in order to be able to get with a woman, but you got to have some kind of ambition first and foremost. You have to be driven and wanting to have something, wanting to do something. You have to be goal oriented first. That's first and foremost. You can't build a union with somebody else until you build a union with yourself. So if you can't build yourself first, how can you build with somebody else? So that's the first thing. So once you get yourself together, then you can find someone that meshes with who you are or who you're trying to be. Because it's not necessarily who you are. I wasn't who I was who I was trying to be. I wasn't who I was trying to be, I was who I was, but trying to be.
Yeah, but that trying to be better. Yeah.
And so you have to be driven and have to want that. But once you do that, then I'm a firm believer that if you do that, and I got to stop and say this, you have to put God in your life. My dad was a pastor. My dad passed away when I was 17, but he was a pastor. He taught me certain morals and values. And my wife told you guys earlier that she had to get me back in the church. I literally got so far away from church, I was one step out of hell, to be honest. But because I had found that I really wanted something, I found someone who was willing to be there with me on the journey to getting to somewhere, then it was able to work out that way. But you gotta want something for yourself first. A woman can't change a man unless the man wants to change.
That's true. Okay. Did y'all have any questions? He hit it today.
He did. But one last question to set it off. So when you long gone, what do you want people to remember about you? What's important for people to remember about you?
First is I was godly. I want that to be said that I was a godly man. I cared about people. Right now, I try to help so many people. I have this thing that I want to impact people's lives. So I care about people. I want people to know that. And I want people to understand that I love my family to death. And there's nothing more important for me than you.
Thanks, sir.
Well,
until next time,
there's strength in sisterhood and support in sisterhood.
Bye.